Hello everyone, this is Amy, and my global learning project presentation is on obtaining a PhD in Norway as an international student. I have ancestors that are from Trondheim, Norway, and I've always wondered what it would be like to not only visit Norway, but to actually immerse in the culture, live there, or go to school there. So this was a natural curiosity of mine, and I focused on the PhD program specifically. So we'll get started. So some of the things that I considered in researching the PhD programs in Norway as an international student included what programs are available, what is the quality of the programs, what are the costs, and what is the prevalence of international students in Norway. So I looked at three of the oldest and most prestigious universities in Norway as I did my research, and those included the University of Bergen, the University of Oslo, and the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. So there are a number of PhD programs available, and across these three universities, they offered on the low end from 6 PhD programs all the way up to 50 PhD programs offered at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. So the requirements for the PhD program were similar across the three universities and largely as a whole in Norway. So the two prerequisites were number one, a completed master's degree, and the second one was a funding plan, and we'll talk more about that in future slides. So the program length for a PhD is 3 years, and the PhD award is based on three things. So first, satisfactory education component, and that was defined as 30 course credits. The second is approved scientific dissertation, and that was also defined as 2.5 years independent research. And lastly, satisfactory completion of a PhD exam. So the PhD quality in Norway is regarded as high quality. The programs are well funded, and the universities in Norway receive excellent ratings from students in comparison to other European universities with international students. So the cost, you may have heard that tuition in Norway is free, and it is, even for a PhD. However, one of the requirements for a PhD is a funding plan. So there's two types of funding, internal or external, and the most common type of funding is an internal funding plan that most students have. And this really involves receiving a doctoral research fellowship. This is temporary employment at the university that typically is 3 or 4 years in length. So the programs at the universities and the universities themselves offer two different processes. So one process is a one-stage process, and that means that your program admission and the fellowship application and granting of the program admission and the fellowship are done simultaneously. So they're as a package, you could say. So the other process is a two-stage process where you apply for the fellowship, and upon receipt of the fellowship, you're granted admission to the PhD program. The other option is the external funding option, and this might be if you have an employer who is providing the funding for your living expenses and working capital. And really all that's required there is a documentation from that funding source on what that plan is and how it will be funded. So the international candidate prevalence in Norway is fairly high, and it is continuing to rise. The foreign doctoral candidates in 2011 were 33% of degrees awarded in Norway. And research from 2017 shows that this trend is continuing, and that's probably because several universities are making focused efforts to accommodate the increasing numbers of international PhD candidates. And they do this through a number of ways. Some of the ways they try to accommodate the candidates are through recruitment efforts and programs, visa and work permits. They help out with housing, and they offer free language classes. So, in conclusion, if you're interested in obtaining a PhD in Norway as an international student, it's certainly a great option if you don't mind the cold. Thank you.